The way computers store data is completely magical. It's something that happens in milliseconds, thousands of times per day, but no one actually seems to see how complicated it is, and especially for the short period of time that this takes place, it's honestly not distinguishable from magic. In this video, this is exactly what I want to explain, and I think you'll be very impressed at the end on how this actually works. The way computers store information, whether it's images, videos, games, or photos, it's basically all stored the same in something called binary electrical states. These are basically just zeros and ones. Ones means that electricity or electrical current is going through, and zero means that nothing is going through, hence why it's zero. And all your photos, your images, your data, text, everything is actually stored exactly in that same exact format. When it comes down to it, just a bunch of zeros and ones. So how does your computer actually manage to keep up with the thousands of numbers being downloaded, deleted, saved every single minute, if not second? Well, I want you to imagine a computer exactly like a massive warehouse. That warehouse includes so many different shelves, so many different aisles. Each aisle is numbered, and each shelf is numbered, and each box in that shelf is numbered. You can imagine how complicated it is to get a box, but then once you actually see the procedure and someone tells you go pick up the box in aisle 5, shelf 2, it becomes very easy to do so, and you can do it very quickly. Computers work almost exactly the same way, except it's even more fascinating. Let's say, for example, you want to look for an image that's called cat.jpg. So that's a very usual format for an image. And basically what will happen is that the computer will store that as zeros and ones. It will give it an address. And from now on, every time your computer wants to retrieve that for you, it will go look for that address. So very similar to what we have here, we've got our computer, and we have our image, which is the cat.jpg over here. Now, let's say it wants to find it. Well, it knows that previously cat.jpg, which is this one, was stored in the box in the highest shelf and in the center. And something very similar happens where basically the computer goes and retrieves that cat photo or video from that box in the aisle. Now, how does it actually keep up with where each image is? Well, since they're saved as zeros and ones, they're not actually saved with the title. What happens is that the computer has a very simple map, or a very complicated map, that actually tells it where each image is, or which each file is, and where it is stored. And then it combines all these files together at the end. So for example, you can see that the address, for example, box 001 or location 001 contains the following data. Now, the cooler thing about this is that files are not actually stored in one location or as one file. Now, let's say, for example, you've got a new photo, it's called dog.png. What will happen is that your computer will actually, when you come to save it, your computer will break that file into different chunks. Sometimes they can be called blocks or sectors or pages, depending on the file format and how your system actually stores it. For example, in this photo example, we have dog.png. 25 different binaries make up that photo. Obviously, it will be much more, but for simplicity of this example, we have 25 different binaries that will save it, that will create this photo. So step 1 to save a file would be to break it into chunks. So let's go ahead and do that. I will break it into 3 different chunks. So this one contains 5 binaries, 5, and 5. Now step number 2 would then be, where can we fit this? Do we have empty room? Well, the cool thing about computers is that files almost rarely ever end up getting saved in the same location. And the reason for that is because sometimes a particular location can have 5 spots left, another will have 5 spots left, and another will have 5 spots left. But there's not a particular address or location that has 25 spots left. And this is why breaking the file into different chunks comes in handy, because then you can move this very first chunk into one location, the second one into another location, and the third one into a completely different third location. And when you come to retrieve or open that photo again, the computer actually knows where each chunk was stored, and it combines them and generates the image or movie or game for you in milliseconds without even any wait time or without the user ever being able to detect that it's taking that much time or that there's a huge process happening in the background. In milliseconds, the computer knows exactly where each single chunk was stored and then combines it into one image or one photo for you. Now you might be wondering, well, why can't we actually save files into one location? And it's actually very simple. Let's say, for example, your computer has 6 rooms. So each of these is a room. So that's the first room, and let's actually say first, second room, third room, fourth room, and let's say 5 and 6. Now let's say you have 3 different files. You have file A, and this one is composed of 2 chunks. So we can just say A, make up the one file. You have B, that's a different file. And this one, it contains 3 chunks. And you have C. And this one is composed of only 1 chunk, C. Now, at the moment, it's very easy. If we want to store this and we have all our rooms empty or all our boxes empty, well, it will make sense. We can just go ahead and save it, like you said, into one location or like next to each other. So I can just come over here and put A, so they're next to each other. I can put B, and finally I can put C. Now let's say you go ahead and you delete file A and file C. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we have 3 different positions open, but they're not actually next to each other. They're separated. And let's say you get a new file, let's say D, and it's composed of also 3 chunks, D. Now, there's 2 things that we can do. We can either shift all of B one to the right, which would require the computer to go have a look at where B is and rewrite it and move it to a different location. Or, because in the previous step, we already split the files in chunks and we did split the D in chunks, what we can do is we can actually just store a D here, one there, and one over there. And that's why files usually end up being completely scattered in computers when they're saved. But this process, the way it gets chunked and fragmented, actually makes it much quicker to save and then retrieve files with all different sizes, formats, and so on. This is the first part of this video where I explain how storage actually works and how files get saved. In the next video, I'll explain how files get deleted, why deleted files can be recovered, how RAM works, the difference between storage and RAM, and how hard drives and SSDs work on a physical level. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and let me know in the comments if there is any questions or if there is anything else I can do better in the next video.